Even with the freezing cold in New York City, the migrant seekers, waiting in line outside the Roosevelt Hotel.
And the freezing temperatures come as hundreds of asylum seekers are evicted from city shelters and wait for placement.
One of the shelters for asylum seekers in the city. Some brave the cold for hours, even overnight. The catch? These folks are being told they might get evicted and have to leave. It's tough for them, especially in this freezing weather, dealing with uncertainty about where they'll stay. New York City is poised to initiate the eviction process for migrant families residing in city-run shelters starting tomorrow. Families surpassing the 60-day stay limit will be instructed to leave and reapply for housing.
Which I don't know because I have anywhere to go.
Migrants, advocating for an end to shelter limits impacting thousands of families, held a rally today in Lower Manhattan. Approximately 4,400 migrant families with children have received eviction notices, and those reaching the state limits will be gradually evicted over the next several weeks. For those without alternative accommodations, reapplication for housing at the Roosevelt Hotel becomes necessary. Currently, City Hall reports around 40 families unable to secure housing, prompting them to reapply for a new hotel room.
She's afraid her and her children are going to have to sleep on the streets.
Expresses JC, who arrived in New York City almost a year ago from Venezuela. She, along with her little ones, is one of 40 families facing eviction following the expiration of a 60-day notice. The uncertainty and concern about potential homelessness highlight the challenges faced by families like JC's as they navigate the complexities of shelter arrangements in the city. Since the spring of 2022, a staggering 157,000 migrants have arrived, creating a significant challenge for the city's resources. Currently, 68,000 individuals are overwhelming city-run shelters, a scenario that prompted concerns within the city's Department of Social Services about providing shelter and support to those seeking a fresh start. Adding a layer of complexity to the situation, New York City is legally obligated to provide shelter to those in need.
I don't have a phone and I don't know the city, he tells us in Spanish. I don't know where to go.
This legal commitment sets an expectation for asylum seekers that, upon arrival, they will receive the necessary support. However, recent reports suggest that reality doesn't align with these expectations. There are instances of the city turning asylum seekers away from arrival centers, raising questions about the city's capacity to handle the growing number of people in need. In addressing the challenges posed by the migrant crisis, Mayor Adams emphasized the city's finite resources. New Yorkers' compassion may be limitless, but our resources are not, Adams stated. The $12 billion figure reflects the total cost since 2022. The significant financial burden is evident, with the city spending an average of $383 a night to provide food, shelter, medical care, and social services to each family seeking asylum. Now the situation has reached a critical point. New York City is gearing up to evict migrant families from city-run shelters. Families exceeding the 60-day stay limit are being told to leave and reapply for housing. This development adds another layer of complexity for those seeking refuge, particularly with winter intensifying and conditions becoming more precarious for vulnerable individuals, the pro-migrant advocate said to a rally.
They have not been getting all the help this administration claims they've been giving them. These human beings are being moved from shelter.
This eviction policy change aims to address the challenges posed by the continuous influx of migrants and asylum seekers. However, it has sparked heated debates on its effectiveness and human impact. More than 80% of New Yorkers say that the recent migrant influx is a serious problem. When migrants first came to sanctuary cities, Democrats rolled out the red carpet, pitched them wedding tents, filled them with recliners, popcorn machines, and Xboxes. The evolving situation reflects the complexities of managing migration in a city that has historically been a sanctuary for those seeking refuge. What started as a welcoming gesture has now evolved into a challenging situation, leaving both migrants and local residents grappling with the consequences. How do we find a balance between compassion and managing the resources of a city? The New York government is set to evict families, including those with children. A total of 40 families are now facing eviction following the expiration of a 60-day notice. This marks the first instance where the city is taking the drastic step of evicting migrant children from shelters. Among those impacted is JC, a Venezuelan migrant who expressed her distress, stating that she has received very little information or assistance from the city regarding what comes next. JC finds herself in a precarious situation with no financial means or resources to secure a place to stay. The move to evict families with children adds a distressing layer to the evolving migrant crisis, highlighting the challenges faced by vulnerable individuals who now find themselves without a stable shelter and uncertain about their future in the city. Nonprofit shelter CEO Christine Quinn said,
"They think ripping children out of their beds will make these families leave and go back to their countries of origin."
Elected leaders and immigrant advocates say the mayor forcing migrant families out is just inhumane. Mayor Eric Adams and his team dispute this version of events. Mayor Adams asserted,
"We're going to place children and families on the street."
This statement from the city's leadership adds a layer of contention to the situation, suggesting a disagreement throughout the action and the potential outcomes for families, especially those with children, amidst the eviction crisis. Approximately 4,400 migrant families are slated for eviction in the coming weeks. In response, the city is providing multiple personal consultations for each family, addressing concerns about maintaining a school for children, finding resources, securing employment, and obtaining housing. For those who still struggle to find stable housing, the plan is to direct them back to the Roosevelt Hotel, the primary migrant navigation center. Here, efforts will be made to reintegrate them into shelter accommodations. Mayor Adams points to the 60-day notices as a catalyst, encouraging families to transition into the next phase of their American dream. This comes as the city grapples with the ongoing crisis and endeavors to manage the situation effectively. Acknowledging the challenges posed by having someone grow up in a hotel room, the city is navigating a delicate balance between addressing the needs of migrant families and the practicalities of managing a crisis of this magnitude. The city assures that efforts will be made to ensure that children can continue attending the schools they are currently enrolled in. Dr. Ted Long, head of New York Health and Hospitals, emphasized this commitment in an interview, stating,
"If your child is in elementary school, you're the highest priority for us to immediately and quickly give you another placement in Manhattan, preferably close to where your child's in school."
This emphasis on prioritizing the educational continuity of elementary school children underscores the city's attempt to mitigate the disruptions that may arise from the eviction process, especially for the younger members of affected families. The shelters, already strained, are bursting at the seams with an influx of asylum seekers. The question arises, why are these shelters unable to accommodate those seeking refuge? Is it a lack of resources, or is it a failure in the city's policies? We need to unravel the layers of this crisis to truly understand its roots. According to U.S. immigration, the city continues to grapple with the influx of migrants. Shelters face a crisis. Over the last year, nearly 30,000 visits by migrants and 300 new babies born to migrant moms have overwhelmed resources across public hospitals in New York City. Most of the visits to the taxpayer-funded legal clinic here are by migrants. Our clinics are full, and there are waiting lists, with people being turned away or referred to other places. The strain on public services is evident, with a significant impact on both migrants and local citizens. This multifaceted crisis is stretching resources thin, affecting access to essential services for all. So many migrants are asking for legal help on asylum representation and healthcare access. American citizens who need legal assistance with issues like eviction and insurance have to wait up to 10 weeks. The struggle is not just about finding shelter, but also accessing critical services. The question arises, how can a city effectively manage the needs of both its existing residents and those seeking refuge? Before we continue, if you find this information as concerning as we do, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. It's crucial to stay informed and spread awareness about issues that matter. The restriction on transportation options has led to a bottleneck effect, making it even more challenging for those seeking asylum to find their way to shelters. According to U.S. immigration, this Venezuelan man right here is expressing his frustration. He's angry, tired, and cold, questioning if this is the harsh reality of the American dream in New York City. Buses from Texas persist in dropping off migrants at New Jersey train stations, where they are then provided train tickets to New York City. This strategic move aims to circumvent any fines or lawsuits resulting from Mayor Eric Adams' executive order banning unannounced buses. In response, Mayor Adams took legal action, filing a lawsuit against 17 bus companies last week to recover costs associated with caring for and sheltering these migrants. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy has also entered the fray, issuing a letter to these bus companies outlining rules similar to those imposed by Adams. While Murphy's letter lacks penalties, The Adams administration commended this move. Mayor Adams affirmed the city's proactive stance, stating,
"We're going to be aggressive in our actions of what the bus companies and Governor Abbott is doing. And so we're not going to leave any stone unturned."
This ongoing legal and regulatory back and forth between New York City and bus companies, coupled with the involvement of neighboring states, adds another layer of complexity to the migrant situation. New York City is on the brink of evicting migrant families from shelters, posing challenges in managing resources and fulfilling legal obligations. Mayor Adams insists on prioritizing children's well-being, but the move has sparked debates on fairness and resource allocation. Mayor Adams is right. New Yorkers have limitless compassion but not the resources, especially with a huge budget cut affecting the true locals of New York. The evicted locals are not the priority when it comes to shelter and housing. Instead, migrants take precedence. It's kind of unfair, isn't it? The law should probably change, and the government should not make glamorous promises to migrants, especially if they cannot fulfill those promises, because innocent migrant children are the main casualties here. Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more updates on crucial issues.